guys, welcome back to ASMR Retro. In this video, I'm going to talk about some of my favorite holiday Christmas movies. They're in no particular order, and I haven't seen a lot of these movies in a long time, so I'm just kind of going by memory. But I'm going to try to ramble my way through it regardless. Alright, so let's get started here. The first movie is Die Hard. Die Hard. Released in 1988, starring Bruce Willis. Directed by John McTiernan. So yeah, this is probably not what you thought of, what you think of when you think of Christmas movies, but it actually is technically because I think it takes place on Christmas Eve or around Christmas time anyways. And yeah, it's about Bruce Willis's character. He's meeting his estranged wife at her work. She works in his office building. They're having a Christmas party, and Bruce Willis is a cop, but he's off duty. And the building is taken over by, we'll just call them bad guys for algorithm purposes. And so everyone's held hostage, and except for Bruce Willis, and he has to save the day. Very classic action movie for sure, and it is more of an action movie, don't get me wrong, but I like how they paired it with Christmas because it's such a contrast there. And it does have like certain Christmas music, and you see certain decorations and stuff, but it also takes place in LA, so you don't see like snow because it doesn't snow in LA, but so kind of has that going against it in terms of Christmas movies, but still I always enjoy watching it. I enjoy watching this any time of year, but seeing the Christmas element, I don't know, gives it more of a special feel for some reason. Classic movie, I highly recommend watching it, whether it's the holidays or not. Very different than other action movies that came out at the time, where Bruce Willis' character is more vulnerable than action heroes tend to be, especially at that time. Alright, next up is Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, released in 1987, starring Steve Martin and John Candy, and directed by John Hughes. And you'll see John Hughes' name come up quite a bit. He was the master of this stuff, but now this movie is technically not a Christmas, well, it isn't a Christmas movie at all. It's actually about Thanksgiving, but I don't know, I always just combined Thanksgiving and Christmas into one season, especially like here in Canada. Thanksgiving is in October, but in the States it's in November, so it's, by November, Christmas and Thanksgiving just blend together. So it has the same feel as a Christmas movie in some ways, but anyways, it's another classic comedy. I don't think it did very well in the box office, but from what I'm remembering, it's about Steve Martin is trying to get home. I think he was on a business trip, and then he meets up with John Candy's character, who's this annoying salesman, and he actually sells shower curtain rings. Those rings you connect your shower curtain to the rod. So yeah, it's a pretty funny thing to be a salesman for. But anyways, he's really annoying, and he likes to talk a lot because, well, he's a salesman after all, and he won't stop talking to Steve Martin, and it really annoys him. And basically, they go on this road trip that they have to kind of work together to get home. And even though he's annoying the crap out of Steve Martin the whole way, and the ending, I won't spoil it because I highly recommend you watch it, but the ending is both heart-crushing and heartwarming at the same time. When you learn something about one of the characters, wow, it just really all comes together. And although I said John Candy's character is annoying, he's such a lovable character that he's annoying to someone like Steve Martin, but he's still a lovable character, as he always is. So, again, another highly recommended holiday movie / Thanksgiving movie. Alright. Alright. Next up is Jingle All The Way. Jingle All The Way. Released in 1996, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Sinbad, Phil Hartman, and Anakin. You know, young, I don't know what the kid's name is, but the kid who played Anakin Skywalker in The Phantom Menace. He plays Arnold's son in this movie. And there's also a scene with the Big Show in it. He's dressed up as this giant Santa Claus, and Arnold has to fight him. Yeah, long story. But it's directed by Brian Levant, I guess. And a lot of people don't like this movie. They say it's crap or one of Arnold's worst. I mean, it's definitely not his best movie, but I still enjoy it for what it is. Basically, it's about Arnold's character who plays kind of a bad father in a sense that he's always working and missing his son's special events and stuff. And his son gets really mad at him, and to make it up for him, Arnold's like, okay, what do you want for Christmas? Okay, something really good. And the kid wants a Turbo Man action doll. And Arnold's like, oh, okay, no problem. But it turns out that this action doll is like really popular that Christmas, and it's hard to find because everyone wants one. So basically the whole movie is Arnold running around trying to find one of these dolls. And then Sinbad plays his mailman who also wants the doll. And they kind of just randomly meet up, and then they start, basically that's Arnold's arrival in the movie. And then Phil Hartman is like Arnold's neighbor who wants to be with Arnold's wife. And he kind of portrays himself as the ideal husband and father kind of thing. The kind of thing that Arnold wants to be. And then there's a pretty, I guess the message of the movie, and a lot of the comedy of the movie is kind of like Home Alone style, a lot of slapstick comedy and stuff like that. So, and I guess it has a message of, commercialization and the lengths people will go to get what they want for Christmas, I guess. But it does, at the end of the movie have more of a heartwarming message, like, we don't need, this toy or whatever, we have each other kind of thing. I have my dad, I don't need Turbo Man. Yeah, I can see why some people don't like it, though. It's definitely more a for kids movie. It's a little bit harder for adults to like, I can see that, but it's still enjoyable. And one thing I don't like about the movie is that I guess it's filmed in LA or somewhere in California, and there's no snow. Or sorry, it's filmed in California, but it's supposed to take place somewhere where there's snow. And all the snow is fake, you can tell. And it just doesn't have that Christmas feel. It's always like bright and sunny outside, and it just doesn't have that magic. But, nothing's perfect. Alright, here is an animated classic, Mickey's Christmas Carol, released in 1983, which surprised me. I thought it was way older than that. Starring, Mickey Mouse, I guess. Alan Young and Wayne Allwine, and a bunch of other people. And directed by Bernie Madison. I used to watch this all the time as a kid. Every year it was a tradition. And it's basically the retelling of A Christmas Carol, the Scrooge story. But instead of Ebenezer Scrooge, it's Scrooge McDuck. And Mickey is Cratchit's character. And let me see what else. Yeah, Scrooge gets visited by the ghosts and all that. It's basically the Christmas Carol story. They just basically retell that. It's very well done. Very good animation from what I remember for the time. And what else can I say? It was just a classic. They used to show it. I guess it was a made-for-TV movie. I'm guessing. And they used to show it on TV. It's not that long. It's only like 45 minutes, but they used to show it with a bunch of other Disney short Christmas-themed cartoons, and that was one of the things I always looked forward to for the Christmas season, but I haven't seen it in years, so I'd like to see it again. That'd be something. And then there is classic, A Charlie Brown Christmas, released, and this blew my mind too, 1965. I had no idea it was that old. Starring Charlie Brown, I guess, and directed by Bill Melendez. Another holiday classic that everyone should see. Again, I'm pretty sure this was made for TV, and just going by memory here, I think Charlie Brown has to direct this Christmas play, and he's all depressed because everyone doesn't, forgot the true meaning of Christmas and the commercialization, blah blah blah. And then at one point he has to go buy a Christmas tree for the play, and he ends up buying the only real tree at the Christmas tree store or whatever. But it's this small little shriveled tree that you see there on the cover, and everyone's like making fun of him for it and stuff like that. And then he gets even more depressed, and then the tree sort of sags down or whatever, and then everyone realizes they're being kind of harsh, and then they help decorate the tree, and everything turns out okay. So everyone realizes the true meaning of Christmas, which is a tree, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, it's another holiday classic. Not much else to say about that. Okay. Yeah, that was another one that I would always watch every year. There was like a certain set of animated Christmas movies that when I was a kid, it was even into my early teens, I'd be like, okay, it's this time of year, we have to find out what time these shows are going to be on and watch them. It was a tradition. But then I stopped kind of caring after, when I got a bit older, but it's the way things go. Okay, Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, yet another classic, released in 1964, directed by Larry Roemer, something. And this one was stop motion animation, and it was another made-for-TV special. And looking back at it, the animation is pretty rough. It's pretty rough. When I was a kid, I didn't really notice or care. But looking at it now, it's like, I don't know if I could watch this because it's very choppy. But hey, can't ask for too much, I guess. It's made for TV. But still, it's basically the classic retelling or telling of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. And then, he's born with a red nose. People make fun of him. He's ostracized. He, ends up going to this island of misfit toys or something. And then he ends up coming back, saving the day, blah, blah, blah. He becomes Santa's lead reindeer. So, redemption story, I guess. Even though, well, not really a redemption story. He shouldn't have to redeem himself because he was different, but it kind of reminds me of The Lion King in some ways too, because he's banished and then he comes back when he's older. But yeah, another holiday classic that I never missed every year until I got to that age. Next up is Scrooged. Scrooged, released in 1988, starring Bill Murray and Karen Allen. She was, what was her name? In Indiana Jones, the first one, Miriam, or whatever her name was. And directed by Richard Donner, which I believe directed the first Superman movie, I think, with Christopher Reeves. And this is a dark comedy, so it's probably not for everyone. And basically, it's once again another version of A Christmas Carol, but this one's interesting because Bill Murray plays a president of a TV station, and on they plan to retell the story of A Christmas Carol live on TV on Christmas Day. So he's like trying to get this whole thing, set up, and he's under a lot of stress and stuff like that. And as you can guess, he's supposed to be, his name isn't Scrooge, but he's supposed to be the Scrooge character, in a sense. And, he's kind of sacrificed everything for his career, and he, doesn't visit his brother, he blew off the girl that he liked to, to focus on his career or whatever, he's visited by his former partner, or no, his former mentor, another TV, big guy in TV or whatever. Maybe he was a president before him. I don't know. But he's visited by his ghost, and he's like looks like a zombie. Like so, the makeup was excellent, especially when he takes off his glasses and his eyes are like hollow. But there's like I can't even explain it. It's really really disturbing actually. Very well done. Special effects on that part, from what I remember. So it's a very dark comedy compared to what you might expect for a Christmas movie, but still, I think a very good movie, pretty funny. A different take on the Scrooge story, the Ebenezer Scrooge story. And then here we go is National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation. Christmas Vacation, released in 1989, starring Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, and Jeremiah Chechik. And it was written by John Hughes, which I didn't know that, but I can see that totally. It has that John Hughes feel to it, to a certain degree. And, yeah, this is an absolute classic too, although I haven't seen this in a very long time. I want to watch this one again because I do remember enjoying it a lot. Definitely a very good Christmas movie. It's very relatable. Good because Chevy Chase plays this guy who's, really into Christmas, and you want to have the perfect Christmas. And he's supposed to get a big Christmas bonus from work. And, he wants everything to be, he's setting up all the lights and decorations and stuff. But then, family shows up. I think his brother or brother-in-law or something shows up, which he hates. And, things aren't really going as he wants, and then he doesn't end up getting his Christmas bonus, and he just loses his cool. And then, the scene I remember the most is when he's trying to get the Christmas lights to work for a long time, and then he doesn't realize, or nobody realizes, there's this like switch in the backyard that his wife just flips on randomly, and they make the lights work. And he's fine, he's so happy. He's like, hey, everyone come outside to come look. So the whole family comes outside. But then the wife switches the switch off, and the lights go off, and then everyone's like, what? The lights aren't working. And he just completely flips out and starts, kicking all the little reindeer decorations and stuff. One of the best scenes, my favorite scenes in any Christmas movie, because we all know what it's like dealing with family and being under stress, because holidays can be a very stressful time. And so that's a very relatable situation, I guess. Classic holiday movie. You should check it out, and so should I, because it's been a long time. Here's another movie that doesn't seem like a holiday movie at first glance. It's Gremlins, released in 1984, starring Zach Galligan and directed by Joe Dante. And it is, I guess, a horror movie, but it takes place during Christmas time. It's super Christmassy with the decorations and all that stuff. Lots of snow, Christmas music and stuff like that. But basically, this guy buys this creature called the Mogwai for his son for Christmas. But the thing is, when you get this thing, and he names it Gizmo, but the thing is, when you get it wet, it multiplies. But then if you feed it after midnight, it turns evil, and it turns into a different form, a gremlin form, and it causes all kinds of havoc. And so, of course, that happens. So Gizmo doesn't turn bad, but the other ones do, and they just cause a huge mess. And obviously the main character, the kid, he's not a kid. I mean, he's like more like a older teenager or something like that. But he has to stop them. And one of the scenes I remember is his girlfriend. One part she's telling a story of how I think her dad dressed up as Santa Claus one year to surprise them, and he got stuck in the chimney or something like that. There was some like very dark Christmas story in the movie, which was like totally out of place, but kind of definitely dark humor going on there. So this is another movie where you could either watch it during the holidays or any time of the year, and it's still a very enjoyable movie. So again, highly recommended movie if you like small creature movies and Christmas movies. list, actually, it probably is my favorite Christmas movie of all time. It is Home Alone. I think most people have seen this, and if you haven't, what's wrong with you? Like what? Go see it right now. It was released in 1990, starring Macaulay Culkin and Joe Pesci, directed by the legendary John Hughes. And what a phenomenon this movie was when it came out. This was a huge, huge hit. Basically, it's about a kid who's home alone. His parents leave him home by accident when they go on vacation during Christmas, and then he has to kind of take care of himself. Even though he's like a helpless 8-year-old kid, he goes shopping, he does all these adult things which he didn't think he could do. And then these two criminals, which you see in the background there, want to rob the house because it's a nice big, rich house, and Macaulay Culkin's character Kevin has to defend it. So it's part slapstick, like the last, 20 minutes is pure like slapstick comedy, whereas but clever slapstick, I think, sort of. But the beginning, the rest of the movie or everything else in the movie is pretty well done. There's definitely a message there, about family and being together and stuff like that, especially during the holidays, and being careful what you wish for, not taking your family for granted, and that kind of thing. And definitely a story about redemption and asking, for forgiveness or whatever, with the old man and stuff like that. Just a great, great movie, and it's funny to see Joe Pesci in a kids movie. I mean, it is not just. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I wouldn't say it's a kids movie. It is obviously appeals a lot to kids, but it's definitely enjoyable by anyone. It's very, very well done with the music and everything. It has that John Hughes magic that you can't really explain. It definitely has that Christmas feel to it. But yeah, it's funny to see Joe Pesci in a movie like that because, before this he was always playing a gangster guy or whatever. I mean, he's playing a criminal in this too, but it's obviously very lighthearted. So, and he does a good job. And same with the other criminal guy. I forget his name in real life, but his name was Marv in the movie. And John Candy has a role in it too. He's always amazing. Yeah, just a great movie overall, great cast, very well directed, and Macaulay does a good job in this movie, despite being very young and pretty inexperienced. So, anyways, there goes some of my favorite Christmas movies. I'm sure there's more that I'm missing, but these are just what came to mind. But definitely, I would say Home Alone is probably my favorite Christmas movie of all time. Anyways, I'd like to hear some of your favorites in the